I think English will be comfortable for everyone, right? Yeah? Yeah? So let's switch to English. So our plan is to make it interactive and not static, just in the form of lectures. Of course, when you join lectures, when you join university, you'll have lectures. You'll have sessions like this, where you listen to the new information that the lecturer is providing, but the main aspect, the central aspect of university life is through discussion, through the people you meet. I would say my experience is more than a decade working at universities. My experience in university life is, I would say, majority, like the central part of it, is who I got to know at universities. Because education is interactive, education is human, and we learn from each other. We learn by expressing ourselves. My educational background is political science, and I know a German guy from a couple of centuries ago called Hegel. Who's heard of Hegel? He had lots of names in front. His last name is Hegel. So this was a German philosopher who said that everything starts from an idea, from ideation. There is a process in the brain that creates ideas. But ideas get realized when people express their ideas. Ideas become real when people express it, when they discuss it. And when we did research, and there are lots of researches on this, when people research this issue, people learn better when they discuss. So my first task to you at the beginning of this session is within these your small groups, like people from sitting next to each other, think about an issue that you find troubling today that we could use AI for to solve it. Let's call it this. So we have sessions on Wednesdays called It Sucks That and 3 dots. So let's figure out something, a problem that you encounter every day. Let's discuss it. That would be good to solve through technologies. We have 5 minutes. We know the task, right? Yep. Let's figure out some problems that we have every day. Okay. Very good discussions. Very, very good discussions. If we had you on Wednesdays, it would be really good, because sometimes we don't have any more ideas. You know, sometimes we start thinking about some unimaginable, unreal stuff, you know, that we want to solve. But a solution only works when a problem is real. And so a task that we just did is that. So I've got some guys who I identified that want to present their ideas. Do you want to come? Yeah? We need to share. We need to share what we figured out, okay? Who wants to come first? Who's the brave one? Who's the brave one? Please. Share your idea with your friends.
Thank you.
It has to be simple, specific, and short.
Okay. Hello, my name is Levan Gurgenidze.
And let's congratulate him, because he's the brave one. He's the brave one.
So, we thought for an argument and idea, and we find out that our world has an environment problem, environment problem. So we need AI to use for security of environment. to improve our environment where we live. So, most environment problems are in India, Pakistan, and so Asian countries. So we use AI to adapt to people, like community in India, to motivate them so they can change the environment and don't pollute
That's
their environment. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's a round of applause. Thank you. Please, please. That's a great idea. To use technologies to solve some of the issues in the environment is noble. It's noble. Maybe another one. Who wants to share an idea? Yeah, yeah, please. Yeah. Another round of applause for another brave one. Introduce yourself and tell us specifically what are you trying to solve through AI.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marisha Mailova. So me and my team discussed the problems that we face daily and came to an agreement that one of the most serious problems that students have is, and especially in the educational establishment, is the right use of various resources. It doesn't include just the human resources, but also the financial ones. That we could use the technologies to solve some of the problems that are connected with the use of human and financial resources at the educational establishments. So they benefit the talents that the students have and many initiatives that they would like to take. Besides that, we also assume that the grading system should be solved. Some of the problems in the grading system should be solved through technologies and the AI. For example, assessments. For example, if we have some like AI and technology gadget-based tests that will not be checked by the teachers, who may be a little subjective in some moments, we will be more fair in the assessments, and that's how we will use technology and AI to solve this kind of human, financial, and assessment problems in the educational system. Thank you.
Wow, amazing. Thank you. You guys are on another level, you know? I was thinking about something simpler, like how about creating some schedules, helping me figure out when I'm going next in terms of my meetings and things like that. And you guys are solving worldwide problems, right? Like education, environment. This is amazing. Yeah, you want to share? Okay, final one. Okay, please, round of applause.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lizzie, as you already know. Me and our teammates, many like different interested. We have many interesting issues that we discussed in our team, but most of the interesting one was that every year thousands of people go missing, and that is the most like problematic issue we have in our real life. So AI can make difference in our real life, and we can make it to like find faces who go missing and find different type of people we can make them to the new society as well. Thank you.
Very nice, very nice. This is a real problem. You'll get a chance. I promise. I'll remember you and I'll call you. Okay? Yes, I'll remember you. We'll have another opportunity to share some ideas, but we need to get through some stuff, and that's why I'm going to discuss some ideas. Then I'm going to give you another activity, and we can all share some ideas. So that's a real problem. You know, you all know Abkhazia, right? You all know Abkhazia. In Abkhazia, there is an issue of lost people. And one of the things that our government started to take responsibility of on the territory of Abkhazia was finding lost individuals, which was amazing. It was a great achievement because that was one of the first things that we started as a country to do on the territory of Abkhazia, which was a great achievement in terms of diplomacy. But thank you very much for sharing such a great idea. Yeah, as I was saying, most of the problems that we think about are much simpler. You're very ambitious. You're very ambitious, which is great, because to become next generation leader, you have to be ambitious. But some of our problems that we try to figure out solutions for are as simple as, let's say, we have 5,000 inquiries at the university, and we don't have enough people to respond to these individuals. So what do? Right? We create an AI-based chatbot that responds 24/7. Anytime. It doesn't have nerves, it doesn't get irritated, and it can respond to anyone even after 100 times responding the same. Even more, it's easier for the entity to respond on the same questions because it remembers, it learns, and then responds the same thing to a million other persons, right? Million other inquiries. So those are kind of issues that we try to figure out solutions for. But let's dig deep into what is artificial intelligence, like ground zero, right? So artificial intelligence is an algorithm. Who knows that the AI is an algorithm? Raise your hand. Very good, very good. So AI right now is an algorithm, and there are different types of AI. A lot of companies are thinking about transformation, AI transformation, technological transformation, and where they always start is data. It depends on what sort of data, what sort of systems you use, what sort of workflows you have within your organization, because if you don't have that as clear as you would explain to a 5-year-old, you are not going to be effective in AI adoption. Do you know what's a workflow? Workflow is a process within an organization. There can be 100 workflows within an organization. I'll give you an example. You're all studying at schools, right? So your schools, a typical day is a teacher comes to your class and delivers a class, right? Delivers a lesson, right? And she does, or he does a test, right? That's a workflow. So what are the steps within this workflow? Teacher looks at her on his calendar, determines what is the subject, takes the lesson plan, goes to the class, delivers the lesson. 5 steps within this workflow. Why I am saying this is that every single time we think about AI transformation, we need to think about workflows that we want to transform. Because if we don't have clearly identified steps within workflows, we are not going to do that. So my next task in a little bit will be to identify such a workflow that we do. Let's say for you a workflow could be preparing for an assignment, right? Or preparing for a class. What is it like? When you go home, you prepare for next day lessons. Is that true? Yeah, that's also a workflow. So I'll have a task for you that will be based on that. So we'll need to identify what are the steps within a workflow that you can think about, and then we break it down. Because if we are not successful, if we are not effective in breaking down workflows, we're not going to be successful in identifying how AI can transform it. So where it all started, you've seen the film, what was it called? It's a British film about Alan Turing. Enigma. Benedict Cumberbatch is playing in the film. Yeah, you know? So it's about Second World War. British decided that they wanted to break Enigma. You know what's Enigma? It's like a coding system, right? It's like a secret language, right? Nazi tool, right? So Germans communicated through Enigma, and British decided that if they break Enigma, they're going to know what Germans are saying, what they're talking. And so they can predict where they can be so that they attacked. And so there was like a crucial moment in the Second World War that hugely affected the tide of the war. And British started to win after they broke Enigma. So Alan Turing, he's the main guy, and the other guy is John McCarthy. Artificial intelligence was established as a field. He created the first machine, but a lot of people say that, you know, calculators are also machines. Of course, Alan Turing's machine was not intelligent. It was not human-like. It was an algorithm. And today what we see when we call to an entity an AI, it's an algorithm. So then we have 90s, 80s, we have 90s, 2000s, neural network rise, and today we have generative revolution. You all know about ChatGPT, right? Do you know the company who owns ChatGPT, OpenAI? You know that, right? So they started a couple of years, like almost 10 years ago. And in 2016, the founder of OpenAI, he was talking in a podcast, and he said that, you know, we met with Elon Musk in 2016. We unraveled ChatGPT version 1, and he said, that's crazy. Just don't waste your time. Fast forward 9 years, 10 years, and we have version 5, generation 5 of ChatGPT that does amazing things, right? And so what is the background? Do you know what's the background? Like, what is it in the system? How does it interact? Do we know how ChatGPT interacts with us? Have you heard of the term large language model? So ChatGPT is trained to respond to our requests, right? We give it a task, ChatGPT responds. How does it respond? Its rule is to give the most logical response to our inquiry. Yeah?
Not the most logical. Usually there's a hit, and usually it's not set to one.
You know, I already don't like him, you know? He already knows more than me. I'm joking. So the task is that...
The best response all the time tries to randomize the response so that it's more right. So it's actually really hard to explain, but it has like 10 answers, and then there's heat, and the heat is usually around 7. So 70% that is going to choose the most correct answer in his opinion.
Do you want to come here? Do you want to take the mic? No? Guys, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. That's like breaking it down, like in deep. But the overall task for the algorithm is to give you the most logical response, and it's randomized. It doesn't mean it's not the most logical. It's randomized, yes, but the task is to give you the most logical response to your inquiry. That's the algorithm. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying that's going a little deeper into what's the system like. But the task is to give you the most logical response. And large language model means, they spent a lot of money on that. They spent billions of dollars on training the model. And there are more than ChatGPTs, right? There are 100 different models. Do we know what models there are? What large language models there are? Do we know the names? What? Gemini is very popular. DeepSeek is also a model. Grok is a model. There are different models, right? So what's behind it? What's behind it? Do we know what's behind it? Do you know what's behind it? Neurons?
Well, it's a if statement. If something, then something, and it's like a huge network. It's like our neurons, in a way, just much simpler.
Okay, so So there. Okay, let's go into that. Okay, they're quite a way from developing a human-like brain. So these are different sorts of AI. We have narrow AI, so-called weak AI, and today's large language models are weak AI. They're called weak AI. They're narrow. They're good at something. They're good at a particular task, but they're not human level. General AI is a human level intelligence, but we don't have general AI currently. Do you agree? Yeah. Perfect. So it's a large database that is managed by algorithms, and it responds. Today, the newest versions have agentic functions that can retrieve information, that can research information from different websites. There are different tools in AI that can do a job for you. For example, you can indicate different sources, and it can crawl websites, it can crawl databases, and can give you information on it. So AI versus augmented intelligence is that it's a combination of two things. So let's say you're driving a car, right? And let's imagine a situation where a person is not driving a car. How many systems do you think are needed for a car to drive itself? For a system to drive a car? Do we know what's augmented reality? Augmented reality? Augmented reality is that there is a system that understands what's happening in the vicinity. For example, a car has a warning system. Today, a lot of new cars have warning systems. When you get close to a car, it beeps. It tells you that you're near to some danger. So imagine an enhanced version of it which guides the car. In San Francisco, there is a taxi company. Sorry? Yes. There's a taxi company in San Francisco that has all driverless cars. You can order it like you order Bolt or Uber or anything, and it comes without a driver. It's amazing. So together, it creates amazing things. Generative AI was truly a revolution, but it was not like, it didn't start from the time when ChatGPT became very popular. It started way before that. The reason they wanted to create such a revolution is that they attracted a lot of attention, which was great. A lot of people were skeptical. How many people do you know they're like scared of AI? Do you know people who are scared of AI? Sorry? Parents? Grandparents, yeah. There are people who are scared. There were more people who were scared of the AI. Even Elon Musk started a petition limiting the research on AI because he thought that, he was just using that for his PR. But there are people who are skeptical about AI. There are people in the EU who are trying to figure out how to regulate the development of AI. But at the end of the day, the group that actually understands what AI can do, and the people who are developing AI capabilities have a very limited knowledge of AI. Especially in some regulators who want to regulate the development of AI. Potential economic impact for AI is 7 trillion. And it's not a random number. Goldman Sachs, one of the most popular banks in the world, they estimated that global GDP would benefit from the use of AI. Productivity will develop. 1.5 is, I think, a very conservative estimate, but this is what they expect. But it can give an edge to companies who adopt AI. So they say that 28% will be gained by companies in their markets if they adopt AI. So what are some of the areas that we can use AI in daily life? That was my question. Of course, you went to like a more ambitious and you try to tackle worldwide issues and problems, but there are different things, different tools that are already in use at home. And those are virtual assistants. You all know Siri, you all know Alexa, Google Assistant, schedule reminders, you know entertainment. Do you know what's the system? Do you know Netflix? Do you use Netflix? Do you know how Netflix figures out what to recommend?
It doesn't. It recommends me some random stuff and says you will like it with a 99% certainty. I'll watch it and it's terrible.
It's actually not true. I agree with everything, but that's not true because Netflix did a worldwide challenge. Their aim was to create a recommendation system, an application that would recommend you what to watch. And this is what they figured out. It's all based on statistics. The way they figured it out, the solution was based on statistics. So this is how this works. I watch something on Netflix, you watch something on Netflix, you watch something on Netflix, right? And between us three, we have, let's say, 70% overlap. Like we watch 70% similar stuff. Netflix has an algorithm that will recommend you the 30% that you watch that I don't watch. Because it will not know, it's not human, it doesn't know what your sentiment is, but it has statistical algorithm behind it that knows that there is a high chance that you like something that I watch if our preferences, our watch list overlaps, let's say 70%. That's how it works. And this is not something that not many people could figure out, right? Solution always sounds like, I could have figured it out. But it was statisticians, not like programmers, not DevOps teams, not some amazing brainiacs figured it out. It was simple maths, simple statistics. Do you know what's predictive modeling? Predictive modeling? You're a very smart guy, I know. I know you know. You're a software engineer?
I train AI.
You train AI? Okay. Let's talk after this, okay? So predictive modeling is that you try to predict what the person will do. Can you imagine how powerful it is to know what a person is going to do? If I asked you to tell me what you wanted to know about human behavior, what would it be? What would you want to know? What would you want to predict? What would it be? How would they react to? To them, yeah. That's amazing. That's like opinion research. So you test opinion research. You do that. That's amazing. What else? How emotions are affected? Yes. Yeah? Habits. Habits are amazing. Habits are very important. Sorry? How people make decisions. Yeah, these are all very important things. For us, for the British University, um, we would very much like to know if people who expressed interest in attending our webinars, for example, we did 8 series autumn webinar series, and if people were going to open the link, join the webinar. We wanted to predict human behavior once they express interest in opening our webinar links, attending our webinars, if they were going to really come to webinars. And we could through AI. Because we measure, and we have a database that measures human behavior. And through a statistical formula, our system predicts if, let's say, 1,000 people in our database, from that 1,000 people, who's going to join the webinar. So that's how you use like such tools to predict human behavior. There's also security applications, smart homes like thermostats. I remember some guys told me over there that managing your home, like having a smart home, like your thermostat throughout the home through a system or through voice. You can task your AI assistant and it can manage your thermostat. Shopping. We know Amazon created a shop that doesn't have cashiers, right? We know that. And healthcare. Healthcare is huge for AI adoption. And so let's dig deep into how different industries adopted AI. In manufacturing, there are things called cobots that work alongside humans. There's an amazing book that was written by, quite recently, last year, it was published last year, by 2 MIT professors. So there is a predominant idea that technology is always good. Tech transformation is always good. But there's always a but. It doesn't mean, technological transformation doesn't always mean economic development or creating better environments for humans. Like, for example, if we go a little in history, like a couple of centuries ago, there was a moment in life when industries came and it changed the agricultural economic system to factories. It didn't change human life in a better way. It didn't benefit humans because humans had a lot worse conditions to live in than previously. Because previously they had fresh air, they had fresh food, everything, and after that they were working in coal mines. It was horrific. It was horrible to work in a coal mine or a factory that didn't have any sunlight. And a lot of people in the UK, where the Industrial Revolution happened, had a deficiency of vitamin D that comes mainly from sun because of that. So human life is, it's not automatic that technologies affect humans in a beneficial way. So they studied these and they said that, in recent past, there was a huge drive to automate car manufacturing in the US and in Japan. In the US, it was all automation. They fired people, they had huge layoffs, and in Japan, they decided that, machines will not be as effective alone as they would with humans. So they had a slightly different approach. So they were like the ones who developed cobots. We know what happened with the US auto manufacturing. Do we know? It was completely destroyed. Detroit, who was the center of car manufacturing in the US, it became like a ghost town. People left because factories closed down because they were not effective. They had huge gaps in the process, in the line. In Japan, Japanese cars are much more economically, like financially strong than American cars. So that's manufacturing. In healthcare, there are a lot of quite popular tools for healthcare, especially in cybersecurity. So health data is one of the most important data that organizations have to have it secure. So health organizations use cybersecurity tools to protect their data. They use predictive analytics as well. Hospitals use predictive analytics because they want to know if they're going to have more people or less people during a particular period in time, so that they have enough staffing. They have enough staff to take care of it. In finance, fraud detection is huge. Do we know how banks use AI to detect fraud? Do you know how they do that? Sorry? Detect fraud, banks. No, fraud. They detect fraud. Taglitoba, fraud. Do we know how banks detect fraud? Fraud. Taglitoba. Banks. That's exactly that. They learn, they know, they give the system knowledge about normal human behavior, and when the system recognizes that it diverges from the normal, it gives a warning. So human comes in and checks if everything is okay. They also have, like for smaller loans, they have AI that grants loans for smaller loans. In pre-screening, it has a logic behind it. It has knowledge on what sort of person they need to give loans, and so it's automated. In retail is huge in AI adoption. Amazon is amazing in predicting what sort of product will be in demand in a particular region, so that they cut down the time it takes for a product to be delivered. So it's an amazing example. For us, for the British University, we have a fully automated admission system. We have an AI-based chatbot that interacts with people, with prospective students, especially international students, and it helps them go through the entire process seamlessly. It allows you to schedule an interview, upload required documents, figure out which program you want to study. It asks you questions. We also have recommendation system. Once we learned about Netflix experience, we also wanted to create something similar. So we have lifelong learning assistant. If there is a professional who works and they want to figure out where they want to grow, they want to develop, but they don't know how, they can interact with our assistant, and the assistant gives some questions, determines what's the interest, where a person works, what sort of experience one has, and then recommends what sort of courses they can take. So what's the adoption framework? We have to define a goal. The first step is we need to define what we want to change. What's the end goal? Second step is that we need to prepare data. We need to be ready for transition. Then we need to train people. People are the most important part in every organization, in every work, in every process. People are the most important. We need to train people so that they know how to use it. Have you heard of a platform called Monday.com? Have you heard of Monday.com? Has anyone heard of Monday.com? Anyone? Monday.com? So it's a platform that helps organizations manage their tasks. And every single time a company tried to adopt Monday.com or any other platform for helping its processes become more effective, smoother, they had that challenge. It became siloed. Do we know a term called siloed? Siloed. So it became sectoral. Some departments, some individuals adopted it, and it was not widespread within the organization. And what people always recommend is that AI adoption has to start from the top. The CEO, the director, the owner has to be the first who adopts AI, because if that person delegates, if that person gives one of the employees a task to adopt AI, then that person tasks another one, then another one, and someone on the bottom is tasked with something that they don't have power to have such a organization-wide adoption of AI. So people are important, and training people are very, very important to adopt AI throughout the companies. One day you're going to be founders. One day you'll lead a company. One day you'll become a head of a department. And you need to know that if it starts with you, AI adoption starts with you. And there is a PDCA cycle, which is plan, develop, analyze, and deploy. That means that everything you do starts with planning, starts with setting a goal. Then you deploy it. And when you deploy, you monitor, you analyze. And the things that you find problematic, there are some issues, like for example, for the university assistant, there were some questions that the assistant didn't know. We didn't plan for a particular issue to be in the knowledge base for our AI assistant, but we needed to know about that. So we had a system that gave us information about the questions that was not known for the AI system. So we need to optimize. There are some statistics to state that 86% of leaders in senior executive positions, they already adopted AI. So if you want to be the next generation founder or a leader in a sector, you need these tools. This guy already started it, right? So what's the path forward? Let me ask you this question. What is the path forward? Do you wanna respond? Do you wanna come? Come. Tell us what you think. What's the path forward? How do we go forward?
With AI.
Yeah, with AI adoption.
Well, I'm actually going to be quite basic when I say this, but currently AI doesn't possess any threat to humanity, and it won't for a long time. But at the same time, AI has started replacing jobs and has replaced mine one time. I got fired for an AI, I got replaced with an AI. And a lot of people are already losing their jobs because of AI, and this is going to continue. And I'm not sure where it's going to lead and what people without jobs will do. But for all I can say that creative jobs like designers, artists are going to have a job as long as people have a soul. And I would say that people that write AI are going to have a job for a while, because replication is the hardest part of AI. AI cannot replicate at all.
Let's give a round of applause to our friend. That was very insightful. That was very insightful. When it comes to soul, when it comes to being human, this is where our advantage starts. That's our biggest advantage, our biggest strength, is being human. When it comes to job loss, 100%, people are already losing jobs. They were losing jobs since the early days. I'll tell you one example. Do we know about the society, like in human history, when people were hunters and gatherers? Do we know about this time of human history, right? When the agriculture came, people lost their jobs because there were no longer hunters needed. They started to work on fields, right? Then industry developed and people created machines like tractors. So there were massive layoffs, right? I'll tell you one example from the recent history. Before computers, banks and financial institutions had departments, buildings full of math people, like math specialists, mathematicians, buildings full of mathematicians. Why? Because they needed to do hard math, arithmetics, like calculations. Things we are doing by computers today, it was done by people because we didn't have computers previously. All laid off. Once computers came, every mathematician, most of mathematicians who didn't transform their skills were laid off. We all had our grandparents and great-grandparents, and do you remember a tool that our great-grandparents used to make calculations? It was called, in Georgian, it was called chotki. Right? I don't know in English, but it's like it's like a string of some round pieces, and when you're calculating, you are just like, yeah, you know that one?
I know how it's called in Russian. It's called shorten.
Ah, yeah. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So yeah, we all saw that, right? So no one uses that, right? I hope. So yeah, people were laid off. But who were laid off? Who were the ones who companies decided that, we no longer need this person? The people who didn't adopt new technologies, they were the first to be laid off, right? Right? It's logical, right?
No matter what, you have to change.
Sorry?
No matter what, you have to change. Like,
Yeah.
the world is developing, so you have to adapt.
Yeah, 100%. And there's a new bright world waiting for us, even today, if we adopt AI tools. So that's all part of this process. We need to learn. We need to be very receptive. We need to be receptive to change. This is like a state of mind. This is a state of mind. We need to be receptive of change. And we should not be afraid of being the first. It's scary to be the first. And my colleagues, when they talk about leadership, they'll talk to you about it. Being the first, being the one who starts it, is where leadership comes in. That's what leadership is. It's not management. Manager is different from a leader. And the fundamental aspect of where management and leadership differ is that leaders are always the first to adapt, and figure out things how they can help people. And everything starts from you. Now, before we finish and go for lunch, I know we're hungry. Let me give you a task. Let's do an activity. And I remember that participant. I'll ask her first. So our task is, think about a workflow within your teams, within your small teams. Think about a workflow and break it down into, let's say, 4 or 5 steps. I'll be with you if you have any questions.